Let us listen to the experts in civil and structural engineering as they give their opinions about the collapse and the materials used in the construction of the building and its foundations.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Dr. Stephen Asheri Ntoga. I am a civil engineer. I am a structural engineer. I'm a materials engineer. I've lectured in many universities, and even now I'm still a lecturer. I happen to be also a dean of the Faculty of Engineering in Tanzania. I come from Tanzania. And the subjects that I teach are exactly on these structures. I studied in Europe. I taught in Europe. Then I came here, the year 2005. I also know the regulations of constructions, what really happens in a country like Nigeria, even Tanzania. They use the so-called British standards in, let us say, concrete structures. Now, I also know that if officially a recognized company takes a job like this, it has to be up to the standard. And I also know the British, let us say, codes. I can talk a lot about this. What happened in this building, as I can see, the interaction between this foundation base, you see, and the soil has opened up so wide that even if the, let us say, the soil was having, was of low strength, you see, then actually it will still have an excellent response. In other words, the soil will just have just like a touch, meaning that no actually suppression of, let us say, the foundation. And this is why, as you can see, the foundation itself here, as you can see, it is healthy. This type of steel is the type of steel that is of highest strength in the world. I studied in a European continental program type of education from Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. You see, so I know this type of steel is the best steel that you can ever have. You see, and as one of my colleagues said here, that these columns are, you see, more than, you know, 6. And even the cross-section, this cross-section of this steel is just too much. You see, and also, if you observe this one here, okay, from the foundation to this height, it means there is the interconnection between the foundation and into the upper continuation of the column, joining the structure with the beams that are up there, you see, meaning that there was even more, you see, reinforcements than just these ones you are seeing. You see, then this kind of material that is used for what we call it stirrups or rings that tie this. They use, this is a 10, Y10. Y10 means what? It is actually 10 millimeters. Standardly we use 6, this is 10. And I'm talking here because I'm a university lecturer. And I prepare groom engineers that are, I want to get their degrees. I've even also done a lot of research, supervised people who are doing, let us say, masters and doctorates. So I know what I'm saying. Come to this material, this here, this beam here. You see, it's the beam interconnecting that foundation and the other one. An extra effort made by the company that built it. You see, normally this kind of thing can be put in a super sensitive foundation in terms of an area or a zone that has got a high, you see, level of earthquake effects. As I can also see the materials used in terms of, let us say aggregates. These are called aggregates, you see, and the different sizes that are used precisely because of this kind of diversification of the aggregates. Then it simply means this, that actually the interwovening of this material, concrete, as a brittle material, is well interwoven together with the, let us say, from the aggregates that are big, then come to the smaller sizes of the aggregates, then come to the sand itself, then come to the cement itself, which is a paste that interwooves the concrete itself. As I am seeing here, the way it is compacted, it means that it is super perfects the extent of the degree of effectiveness in the excellence of construction of this building.
How high do you think this building, looking at the foundation, could go?
With this kind of foundation, it could go to even more than 12 stories. I have seen the building as it was being shown, and I saw the height of, let us say, between one floor and the other one. Actually, the higher the height that is of between the floor and the floor, the more resistance to destruction the structure is. And this structure, this building, had that quality. You see, this happening could only have been done pre-planned, you see, arrangement of, I can say, knowledge people like me. Why? Because we as engineers in civil engineering, we are even taught how to demolish, let us say, buildings. Therefore, there are methodologies that are taught officially, and we teach, actually, how to do this job. You see, one of the character of, of the thing that is within that kind of knowledge is, whenever you are doing this, you must make sure that, you see, the building just has to fall within its plot. In other words, within its own foundation. It is like making the building to kneel down, just like that. And very quickly, you see, very quickly. Why? Because you actually strike, artificially at where, you see, this material here is brittle. Brittle, it means it's not ductile. Now, brittle means that actually it doesn't have this strength, the tensile strength, in this manner, okay, to elongate it. If you get a chalk and you tension it, it will just go. You see. So actually, when it will just crack very suddenly without extending. You see. Now, we do know that you start with this type of this material. You see, you weaken it very quickly. Then, when you in the process as you weaken it very quickly, you see, then the whole building will rest on only one thing, that is the steel. Yet the design considers the interworking together of the two materials, concrete and the steel, as one. You see, this is actually the thing. Now, when you take away one material, then you see, accumulate everything on this, then this is why you see these ones, they had to like sink, you see, because they are alone. Then immediately the building has just to kneel down, and very quickly. And the process that we use is that once you detonate somewhere, then it goes pa 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 pa, and then in seconds. I can say even more. So not to exhaust you, you see, this is actually what I have to say. Thank you.
If you can see the size of the rod, I mean the iron, this size is Y20, and where is the ring that gather the iron together, it's Y10. And you see that the base is still remain the same without teeth to one side or other side.
My name is Alpheus Mamafa. I'm from South Africa. I did civil engineering. I specialize in buildings. Most of the buildings have been constructed by Y12, and these are the Y20, the strongest. And if you can check the type of reinforcement, the reinforcement on it, mostly we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on a column, and this is more than 6. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, around about 10 for reinforcement, and the strongest reinforcement that we ever get in the buildings. This is the strongest column that we will ever get. Nothing will shake this. Because as you can see, this reinforcement, you can't shake them, especially with the concrete inside. Concrete makes it more strong because concrete on itself, it's so strong. What about with this reinforcement? This you can't shake it anymore. And if you can see here, this reinforcement, it has been for reinforcement on the ground here. There is a concrete reinforcement here, and the concrete reinforcement here, it's so strong, this beam. And the other thing, the structural failure will always happen on a foundation. That's why there's no any other buildings that will be constructed without inspectors checking on your foundation. A crack on a foundation, it's a structural failure. So because of the weight that is coming from above, here you find no crack on anything. It's so strong. That's why here I don't see any structural failure on this building.
Okay, my name is Thabo Pierha from South Africa. I'm qualified as a civil engineering technician and a candidate as an engineering technician with EXA. From my observation, what I've noticed or what I've seen from this, from the exposed foundations, basically when the structure is failing, you will also notice from the foundations that the structure is failing. So by merely looking at the bases that are exposed from the entire building, you can see that the bases are still firm, they're standing. On the columns, you can see the amount of reinforcement that has been used here, and the concrete. Well, the concrete also can be tested, but from seeing the columns and some bases that are lying around the site, it shows you that most of them they fell and they were still intact up until after the collapse of the building. So according to my own observation, I believe that the structure has been affected in a different way other than the structural failure. Thank you.
You are about to watch the CCTV footage of the September 12 incident at the Synagogue Church of All Nations from cameras at different angles of how it took place. This is what the building looked like before the September 12 incident occurred. Now, watch the CCTV footage from the first camera.
September 12, 2014. A building at the Synagogue Church of All Nations collapses after a strange aircraft flies low multiple times over it before disappearing. SCOAN visitors capture the strange aircraft on their cameras at the entrance of the building. A SCOAN visitor's photo. A strange aircraft flies low over a building at the Synagogue Church of All Nations. This is the enlarged view of the photograph taken. It reveals the close proximity at which the strange aircraft flew over the building shortly before its collapse. Security footage. September 12, 2014. A strange aircraft flies low over a building at the Synagogue Church of All Nations multiple times before the incident, and after the incident, the strange aircraft does not return. September 12, 2014. Take note of the upper left-hand corner of the screen. A strange aircraft flies over the building at the Synagogue Church of All Nations before the incident at 11:30 a.m. "13 minutes later, the strange aircraft flies low over the building before the incident, 11:43 a.m. Just 2 minutes later, the strange aircraft returns and flies lower over the building before the incident, 11:45 a.m. Nine minutes later, the strange aircraft returns and again flies low over the building before the incident, 11:54 a.m. This is the moment of the incident.
This is what the building looked like before the September 12 incident occurred. Now, watch the CCTV footage from a different angle, showing a closer view of the building from the second camera.
Footage from another CCTV camera, positioned facing the end of the building, reveals the incident from another, closer angle. Take note of the building in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. From this angle, you can see clearly the precise moment of the incident. Take note of the top of the screen, as the CCTV footage, played in slow motion, reveals exactly what happened to the building, frame by frame, during the incident. Look again to what happens to the building during the exact moments of the incident, as the CCTV camera continues to reveal in slow motion each moment of the incident. This is the moment of the incident. We want to show you what happens when a building collapses because of a controlled demolition, and what happens when a building collapses because of structural failure. Here, you can see for yourself what happened to the building at the Synagogue Church of All Nations on September 12, 2014. What you are about to watch are controlled demolitions in the nation of Nigeria. This is the controlled demolition of the old Nitel building in Abuja, Nigeria, July 27, 2013. This is the building at the Synagogue Church of All Nations in Lagos, Nigeria, September 12, 2014. This is the controlled demolition of the Bank of Industry building in Lagos, Nigeria, September 21, 2008. Controlled demolitions in the nation of Nigeria.